Okay, we're live. Hi, everybody. This is number 95, Develop Your Mindset Podcast. We are back. Another Saturday, another experience, another week. We're, this is amazing. We were talking about when it was 90. We are at 95. Very incredible. Today's topic is going to be uh, a lot of motivational, but also as in life rules type of podcast because this is what we're doing today. And we do a lot of stuff. You guys know we talk about a lot of what's going on in the company and everything. But this week I'm going to take it to another direction because I feel like this is a valid topic. It's been on top of my mind, right in front of everything, and I've been thinking about this stuff. And so I put these questions together because I feel like we all go through this one way or another. We all go through this. If you are going through it, or you went through it, or you're about to go through it, this is going to help you to kind of give you perspective on what happens when you encounter this kind of thoughts and feelings. So, in reality, to tell you the truth, it's like this is not just one time. It happens more often than one time in your lifetime because we all was we're static as in humans. We always grow. We always go through a lot of different dimension and paradigms, and those times you have awakenings, breakthroughs. So these questions designed towards that kind of mindset. And by the way, you guys, as you know, we are a jewelry company and we have a website. Please visit and tell us what you think about the jewelry. Everything's designed in house and handmade and solid gold. So with that, there was something else. Oh, I want to. Um, I am an Armenian, born in Beirut, Lebanon. So I was gonna say that today, April 24, 2021. Um, Today, the President Biden he accepted the Armenian genocide. I just wanted to say congratulations to all of those Armenians that they was waiting for this. 106 years later, the massacre turned into genocide. The United States of America actually recognizes that it was a genocide, which I've been going since I was a little kid. I've been going to those marches and everything every year. Um, Later on, after this podcast, I'm going to go again because that's what I do. That's what my father did. And before him, we all been doing this because we wanted to get to this point. And I'm very appreciative with that. It's just to say, um, I guess that's it. After that, we're going to start the podcast. Louis, of course, with us.
Yeah, so it's good to be back for another episode. Thank you very much for joining us once again. And of course, this is episode 95. And as always, we're going to, share a very powerful, insightful topic that we hope you guys take a lot of value from and you guys are able to change your lives with that. And with that said, we can go ahead and begin.
All right. So, first question is going to go like this. It is not what is holding you back. It's what you think you are not capable of. So I'm gonna say the word. The first words come in my mind is limitations. As in human being, as in mind, our minds, we always put limitations on ourselves of believing a bunch of other things, and in reality, there's no limitations. It's all in your mind. This is why the podcast is called Develop Your Mindset, because from knowing that you believe you kind of like put limitations on yourself, now you have to start developing your mind towards there's no limitations. So don't it is not what it holds you back. So obviously limitations hold you back because you come hit the same wall, you go back, you come hit the same wall, you go back. The wall could be many things. The wall could be habits that you have. You cannot pass through them because you act certain way, and people don't want to trust you, don't want to work with you, don't want to take you anywhere with them, so you can learn something over there, on and on and on. That could be your wall. What's holding you back? It could be your behavior. You have to change your behavior, work on your behavior. It could be knowledge. Like, you need a little bit more knowledge. You have to become more knowledgeable to be able to pass that wall, whatever they may be. um, and then there's a lot more. I don't want to go through all the steps, but I just want to put this out there, and you can use your imagination now to imagine what is it that is holding you back, what kind of wall there is for you that is holding you back, that you need to go around it. It is what you think you are not capable of. Obviously you have to lift your capability of becoming more knowledgeable, like knowing how to deal with this thing. I've went through this, and I went through this more than one time. I went through this. The last one that it was the big one, that happened to me was about 5 years ago, and I had a breakdown, and then I used that breakdown to create my breakthrough. When I created the breakthrough, I felt like I was free from all my, um, I don't know how do you say it, like all my walls that I had up for myself, my belief system, my no, only rich person can become richer, or money does not grow on tree. All these weird belief system that I had to break them down, and then so I can pass through that, and then build new version of me. And that's what had happened to me. That's how I see this. That's how I'm explaining it to you guys, because it worked for me. And if you I don't know, there's many different ways of this is going to work. There's not one way, but in the end, if you don't bring down those walls, you're not going to be able to go pass through it to find out what's waiting for you the other side. And you got to work on it. Like, you can't hold on to it forever. I've seen my dad's friends when they were in their 70s. I've seen them holding on to their belief system all the way to 70 years old, 75. And now I look back and I realize, I recognize that that's what's hold them back from becoming this amazing special people. When you see this amazing special person, you got to understand that that person had to come through those walls. Like, he had to have breakthrough, so that's why they built something special. That's why we see them as special, and they are special because not a lot of people are doing this. Most of people are believing into limitations, and they're believing into living in their surrounded, their mental walls, and they don't want to pass through that. They're just stuck. And I think I don't want to. There's so much more I'm going to talk about. I don't want to go too much ahead of myself, but I think I made my point here, and Luis has a different view, and we're gonna hear another view here, point of view.
Yeah, so for sure. I mean, I think limitations definitely hold you back. But in order to deal with those and address them, I think that you first have to find some sort of motive. There's got to be a reason why you want to break through those limitations, because you see, we all have our limitations if we haven't actually put in the time, the effort, the practice in order to get better at a specific thing. By default, you're not going to be as good or you might be somewhat good if you have a natural talent at it, but for the most part, you're just not going to be good. And so there's got to be some sort of incentive. There's got to be a reason why you want to break through that. And so, because if you don't have that, then there's just no point. There's just no reason why you would want to break that limitation, even if the people around you are telling you like, why aren't you doing more of this, doing more of that? To you, if you don't care, if it doesn't, if you just have no incentive, no motivation, you can receive the best advice, you can receive the best knowledge, but if you just don't have a why, a purpose, then none of that is really going to matter. So you got to have a strong purpose, a strong reasoning behind why you want to, you know, push through and actually put yourself in a position that's challenging, that's out of your comfort zone. So it's not just about breaking out of your comfort zone. There's actually with a purpose, intentionally doing it so you can progress and actually get something out of life that you find fulfilling, not because everybody else finds it to be fulfilling and exciting and everything. It's because you find it fulfilling. And so you have to make that decision ultimately, that that's something worth your time, that's something worth your effort. If it's not worth your effort, then why do it? Is just no point. And so I'm just very I'm a big fan of living life with intention, and every action that you take has an intention. And if there's no intention behind it, then it kind of defeats the purpose of taking that specific action. And doesn't mean everything has to be calibrated after you do the thing, but at least have some sort of intention. Maybe you're going someplace, you want to meet people. Okay, that's your intention. You want to get more, you want to practice more, you want to practice your social skills more, because practicing your social skills, meaning that you'll be able to communicate better, and like maybe you want to do public speaking in the future. So interacting with more people is going to help you get better with socializing and speaking, and then later you can accomplish your dream of actually becoming a very good speaker on stage and being able to deliver the message that you want and be able to help people that way. But there's always an intention. There's a reasoning behind the things that you're doing. It's not just random. You're not just going with the flow or doing things that other people are recommending. Always with intention. And so definitely, I think this is something that you should very look into, because it's your life and you should make it meaningful. And so always think about what's your purpose and your why.
Awesome. Let's move to the next. That was very different. Confidence comes from knowledge. Okay, so a lot of people are not confident at all. They seem they're confident, but as soon as the conversation changes to something that they're not aware of, not knowing, they drop their confidence so fast, like they're become very shy and quiet. And that's why you have to dedicate a lot of hours, a lot of time to learning stuff that it's gonna keep you in conversations, so you can look smart, you can hold conversation with people. You have to learn a lot of different things. So like in I used to, let's talk about me. Long time ago, I used to sit and watch a lot of TV, a lot of shows, a lot of NASCAR, a lot of soccer, a lot of different things. And I used to have a hard time holding conversations because I used to not know a lot. And so one day I decided I don't want to be that person anymore. I want to become smart. I want to know a lot of things. And when I talk to people, I want to relate to those conversations and have something to say. So I started listening to news. And then I realized, oh shit, it's not the news. News is keeping me dumb. And then I stopped listening to news. I started listening to motivational speaks. I started listening to business. I started listening to seminars. I started listening, what is money? I started listening to all kinds of things that has to do with being smart. I wanted to hold conversation. I wanted to know names, words. How can I remember? Like I have to watch things that you learn how to remember. What is brain? How does brain work? what is neuroplasticity, what's going on, and then that's how I became knowledgeable, and then confidence came on me, and then now I can feel confident to go in a place where I know for sure I can hold a conversation or even understand what they're talking about, because all these different random conversations comes up everywhere, anywhere, especially when you're trying to build something, because all these builders are involved in this kind of knowledge. And obviously, if you are working on a car, you probably want to know about cars and about business, about psychology, about all kinds of other things. I know a lot about jewelry. I'm a jeweler. I'm a master jeweler, so I know a lot about jewelry, and I also know about a lot of different things. If you guys follow this show, you know that we talk about all kinds of things, me and Luis, because we keep ourselves knowledgeable. We don't waste our time watching TV, doing something. My free time, I'm always educating myself and learning. I don't stop educating myself. Um, Definitely, a lot of people, they leave school, they stop educating themselves, and you shouldn't. You should keep on educating yourself, because the world hasn't stopped. Just because you left school, education should continue. We have we don't have a lot of time to educate ourselves until one day we cannot do this anymore. So definitely, confidence is where that's where it's built from, and you have to uh, become knowledgeable. So knowledge and confidence is hand in hand. This is how you do it.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think you were talking more about like confidence and in the communication aspect, which is I think it's just one area of confidence, and
Right.
I think there's when it comes to confidence, I think people have different levels of confidence depending on the activity that they're performing. So there's probably certain areas right now in your life where you are confident because perhaps that's your area of interest. You because it's interesting to you. You find it appealing, fun, interesting. You've probably put in some time into it without anybody having to really force you to it because you, from the heart, you're naturally inspired to go and start. Doing that thing, whether that's like writing or reading or doing any sort of activity like that. So you're probably pretty confident in that area because you naturally feel inspired by it and you've put in some hours of practice into performing that. And so sure, the statement of confidence comes from knowledge. I think that's one aspect of it. Sure, you educating yourself can definitely boost your confidence because uh, now you feel like you know things, right? But you also need to implement that knowledge. It's not just about knowing the knowledge, but also implementing it. Because once you implement it, your delivery when you're communicating with other people is very different. As opposed to when you're talking because you just learned it off a book. And this is the reason why I personally am not so much of a fan of studying multiple things, especially the things that I'm not particularly interested in. Because people who are like experienced in those areas, they can notice those things. Like there's specific areas where I personally I like to really educate myself hard because I love those areas. And so when somebody comes up to me and they start talking about that specific thing, but they've never actually applied it or implemented any of the things, you can tell in the communication the delivery is very different. Somebody who's just giving their opinion about something they read and they saw, as opposed to somebody who's actually done it. They've been through the journey. They know what it's like to actually get in there and do that thing. So in my opinion, and just from my own experience, I would say just stick to the things that you love to do, the things that interest you. Go in there, obviously educate yourself on them, but also push yourself in those areas and actually implement the things that you're learning. Get really good at those things, and then when you're engaging in conversation, I mean, you don't have to necessarily find every single topic interesting, uh, because you're your own person, you're your own personality. And I think that's what's great about everybody. That everybody has their own personality. Everybody has their own things that they really love and the things that they just don't find very interesting. I think that's okay. And so naturally, you'll want to actually surround yourself with people who have the same common interests. Those naturally become your friends and the people you confide with the most. And so and then obviously there's other conversations that could be more calibrated. Maybe it's like a business type of deal. Maybe you guys don't have the same interest, but there's a mutual something with business could happen there. So you can you could in essence learn certain things from here and there, just to like maybe you want to build some sort of connection with that person, but it's more like intentional as opposed to just naturally making it happen. So it's more calibrated. You're doing it with an intention. Maybe you're going to an interview, you want to impress this person, and so you study whatever the company's about and everything. But even if maybe you just want to work for the company, not necessarily interested in the company itself, so you study it and you learn about it, and then you can talk about it to the interviewer, use it as leverage. But in essence, you don't really care about it, but there's that. And so yeah, so that's what I would say about that. uh, Definitely you can get very confident once you start learning uh, and gaining knowledge.
All right. I just remembered I read or I watched somewhere that this guy was, I'm not going to give any names or anything, but this guy was on the stage, was explaining something. Obviously, he was saying that I didn't even know. I was explaining upside down something. It's supposed to be other way around. But it's like because I was so confident explaining anything, no one even came told me that you were explaining upside down. But people kind of knew, and afterwards they told him, and they were laughing about it. I guess confidence is something you build, and then if you don't understand exactly to some area, and then that's gonna probably people will give you slack about it. But then again, it has to come with knowledge. Um, I remember that. Next, we're gonna go next, which is how do you escape prison if you don't know you're in one? This is like saying, obviously, but let's talk about it a little bit because a lot of the times people they're stuck. They're stuck in somewhere, their belief system, in their ways, and they're expecting a different result and nothing, no other results coming in because they're using the same habit loops, the same belief system, the same stuff that are always done. 5, 10 years later, the same thing over and over and over it happens. You have to know under, how do you gonna know? You gotta pay attention, right? You gotta pay. How do you pay attention? You probably need to have a journal, start writing the shit down, and then go back and read 3 months later to see what the heck I was doing when they were telling me, or I needed to do this or something. So you can understand what's going on. You need to break through from the shackles of your belief system, which is here it says the escape the prison, which is like that becomes your prison. You build this belief system, which are those are your walls, and then somebody tries to say something, you'll fight for it, even though you're wrong. You probably even know that you're wrong, but you'll fight for it. I know for sure I've done that. And your teachability index has to come up because you have to be able to be teachable so you can learn and break through those walls, escape the prison that you built for yourself when you were a little kid or something happened to you that you developed this belief system that not serving you at all. You have to break out of that prison. You have to become aware of it. So if you are not, you're not going to be able to perform that kind of move. And yeah, Here, the, this saying says pretty much that. There are many different ways to explain this, but in a nutshell, get out of your belief system, develop yourself, and then become the better version of you, always, all the time. It's not just one time, you know. And if you build this version that it's not working, you got to let go, and then you got to build the new one. Um, if people are seeing you and they're saying that you are the same, you probably have to be a little bit worried with that, because you don't want to stay the same. The world is not staying the same. People are growing all around you. They're not staying the same. You shouldn't either. But you have to become the better version of you, definitely, not worse. So make sure whatever belief system you develop at that point is better. It's going to serve you, and you're going to be able to serve people with that. And it's going to be long term. It's just, you got to do some research on that. You got to do some education on that, and then you have to learn what makes you valuable, and you got to do that in your life. And this is what I did. I'm pretty much talking to myself about me now, and it made a difference. So if it didn't, I wouldn't say it. This is how I learned that it's going to do, and I did it, and it worked. And I'm telling whoever wants to listen, if you guys have an ear, listen and do it. And good luck.
Um, yeah. So, how do you escape prison, right? I think this is one that's it's very interesting because like you hear all these people, and I mean, you just heard him. You've probably heard of other people who, who are trying to, maybe they're giving you advice or giving you some sort of tips and tricks and everything, giving you stories as to how you can improve your life and this and that, right? But none of it is clicking, or maybe you just don't feel excited about it. You just don't feel
I'm doing
uh,
okay.
all of that stuff, right? Maybe you're not even doing okay, but at the same time, none of that advice, none of that word makes sense. You everything you hear, you just sort of push it away, or you just say like it's dumb, it's stupid, it's whatever, right? Like fuck off, like what the hell are you talking about, right? And I don't blame you. I've been there, and I was there a few years ago, and so it's something that's very natural to happen when you're just like stuck in your own belief system. And not only that, but the source, the people who you're taking all this advice from, they're just the wrong people. That's just really what it is at the end of the day. Because this is really what happened with me. So at first, I would hear these things, but the reason why they wouldn't make sense is because you see, I personally don't respond well to that type of advice. That's very basic and very generic. Like uh, that's just like very like simple, straightforward type of deal. I like more strategic advice, more filled with uh deep deep explanation with details and a strategy and a proven process, and also coming from a person who I can actually relate to. So I think this is something that you should look for. If none of the advice that you're receiving is making sense, find a good source for yourself. So it's important that you find somebody who you can relate with, somebody whose story uh,
Resume.
you resonate with, like if you take advice from somebody who went through the same thing that you're going through right now, and you want to find the most accurate one possible, that's closest to how you're feeling right now, and take advice from those people. And little by little, I would say start there, and little by little, you can start expanding your, like he was saying, your teachability index. You can expand it more and more. But first, I think the foundation you have to, because right now, if you're in a prison, you've sort of lost belief in yourself, so you don't necessarily believe in yourself as much, and so you just taking random advice and trying to implement it is just not going to work out as effectively. So you have to trust in somebody else. So it's more natural for you to trust somebody who's been through what you're going through, going through the same pain and using the same language that you resonate with, and follow that person, well, whatever it is that they did to get out of that. You go and try the same steps. Maybe you want to modify them, maybe you don't, but you need to trust in somebody else that can pull you out of that. And then once you get pulled out of that, then you can, start expanding into other different stories, different people, different sources that may be more different than your own story, but now you have a more core understanding of what you're doing, as opposed to just trying to force yourself to listen to whoever. Like, it's just like that's just the way I did it. So
Definitely, life has a rules, and then the rules are gonna stay here. We're gonna go. Some other new people gonna come our place, and they have to learn those rules again because certain things you can't change. It is what it is, and we have to learn it and work with it. That becomes your tool. So pretty much that's what you're describing in other ways. How I'm saying it. So the next one is an interesting one too, you guys, because this is also will help you become uh, the better version of you. It goes like this: if I'm going to be free, I got to be me, and I got to find out who's me. Here we go. If you're going to be free, obviously, freedom is. Um, we all know that you go jail and you're not free. You get captured, you're not free. Now there's the other thing, other way, which is a lot of people, they form these prisons in their mind, and they get stuck and they don't find any other way out, and all the way to the bottom of that thing, that place is the dark, dark, dark place is suicide. Now, it was last week I heard my son's 15. My son is 15. His friend's brother hung himself. He was 17 years old. He was going high school. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Why the fuck 17-year-old gonna hang himself? But he did. He went through building all the shit and putting his neck and blah blah. It was a process. But if you can't free yourself from certain belief system, certain emotions, certain anger, animosity, just like hatred towards your mom or your dad, your brother, your school, it's you don't find any way out of it, and then you're gonna go through that dark place. And then who knows, maybe after everything's done, you look back, you're like, oh shit, this was wrong, I want to come back, and you can't. It's over. It's fucking done. So you gotta free yourself. You gotta learn how to free yourself, your mind, from it's, and not everything is happening is your fault. The world is not a perfect place. The rules are perfect, but the world is not. Sometimes the rules change. What are you gonna do? You gotta learn. You gotta work with. You gotta ask help. You gotta bring in some more knowledge, read books, whatever it takes to not go to that place. You gotta free yourself, from old belief system, from money doesn't grow on tree. You know, all these weird, stupid sayings. You gotta learn how to snap out of it and get out of it, and then fix yourself, become the better. And you shouldn't allow yourself to go dark like that. So um, find a way. If you are trapped somewhere, you gotta find somebody has been there before you, and done it. You gotta go talk to those people. Get out of that dark. Next is, I got to be me. You have to be you, because that's where you shine the best. You are the best. you ever going to be, because nobody else is like you, like me. There's nine, 8 point some billion people in the world, and there's no one like you or me or anybody. We're all unique. There's like billions of sand. There's not even one that looks like the same, look alike. It's all unique. The world, the planet, everything is built unique. There's not even the same tree looks the same mountain looks the same. Nothing looks the same. Everything is unique. It's made by God, the energy, the universe, and everything's made by God, universe, and energy. It's unique, and you are unique. So you got to find yourself. You got to find me. I found me. You got to find you, me, and become the better all the time. And we have no business being in some dark places. We got to come up to the light and start shining and become amazing people. Saygı hani kalacağız. Kalkışanlar kozası. Uh, and I got to find out who's me. You have to find out. It's your duty and your obligation to find out you and become the better you. And with that, I'm gonna end because this was some emotional thing happened to me now. You say it differently, man.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna say something that's a little bit more on the opposite end of this, because I was there at some point, where I just felt very like I just didn't like my life, and things were just not going right. I felt just like you know I just couldn't make anyone happy. Uh, Everyone around me just felt very disappointed with the things I was doing, and so I got to a point where I just I did have suicidal thoughts, and so I know what it's like to be there, and so at that point, what you have to realize is that a lot of us, even personal development itself, I think this is something that can hurt you pretty badly at the beginning because you're trying to there's all these expectations that the world and maybe your family has certain expectations of you, your friends do, your instructors, if you're young, maybe you still have teachers, they have certain expectations of you. Maybe if you're a little bit older, you watch things on YouTube and you have these expectations of growing yourself and becoming better and everything, but perhaps you're just not there yet. You're just not ready. You just don't have that strength to just step up and start taking action in the opposite direction. Perhaps right now you're hurt, you're confused, you just don't have the necessary knowledge to go and act on those things, and so you're pretty much on your own here. And so I think the first step really is to really embrace the fact that you're on your own here. But at the same time, that's not a bad thing. That's actually all you really need, because you yourself you're worthy, you're of worth, and so you yourself can pick yourself up out of that place and put yourself in a better place. But I think the thing right here that he was saying that I kind of I mean, I personally applied this, and I'm not saying that everybody should apply this, but definitely I think it's I definitely went into that dark side. I went like deep there, and I personally didn't find it to be something bad. I think when you're in a place like that, you have to go there, and you have to go from being this nice person that you want nice for everything and positivity and stuff like that, and you have to become a fighter. You have to stand up for your own life. You have to just recognize that it's that you matter. What you believe in matters. Your worth matters, and because of that, you have to stand up for that, and you have to essentially become a fighter of that. Stand your ground, and really, sometimes that means fighting everybody. That means fighting the beliefs of your family, the beliefs of the people around you, your friends, and yes, they won't receive it well, but who cares? Because at the end of the day, you're listening to yourself. You're listening to your heart. You're listening to what you believe in, and that's what counts here. That you take action from a place that's genuine, from a place that is you, not from a place of trying to impress other people, not trying to live the successful life, not trying to become uh, rich, not trying to become like the most popular person, not trying to become famous, none of that. Screw all that. Like, it's all about just you living the life that you want to, you doing what you want to do. And you have to become essentially a fighter. You have to engage. You have to engage with life. This is not about waiting for something to come to you, magically. And that's why I personally am not a big believer in those things, because that's just very like there's no engagement on your part. Like, you're not proactively doing anything to change your situation. You're relying on things that, like spiritual things, like, those things do exist, but that requires a whole lot more understanding that perhaps you're not ready for yet. And so you got to tap into what you can, which is action. That is more doable. And so I got very emotional with this as well, saying it, because that's really what I did.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's not something that's easy, but you have to become a fighter. You have to fight for your own life. You have to stand up for it, and stand up for whatever you believe in, whatever your purpose is, whatever you love. Stand up for that, and make it something meaningful. Your life can have so much meaning, and not just for yourself, but for the people you could potentially impact in the future that you're not even considering yet. And so do that, and yeah.
Definitely, it's a emotional topic because, like you said, you don't even know what your potential is. You're gonna try to, because of not understanding or not being aware, you're gonna make a decision where you're gonna end something where it's just starting or something, and um, you're never gonna find out the full potential of that duration, which is our lives.
Of course.
And yeah, I'm gonna move on to the next one. When you hear something, you hear with your ears. When you listen with your emotions. So this goes both ways. Obviously, it could be you personally, or it could be somebody else is telling you something. This this could be so complicated, but in an essence, it's you know using your ears is very important to understand what the heck somebody's trying to tell you. And then you gotta have to use your heart, your emotions, your core you, to interpret this. Is this good for me? Is this something that I want to do? Is this where I want to be? Is this something that I should go ahead and do this? And two different things. You have to understand that the words have meaning, have energy. It's magic. It has its own value, and you gotta try to figure out what these words mean altogether in nutshell. Um, but when the words are coming to you, you gotta pay attention to put this thing together in the end. And so that's why it's here. It kind of breaks down for you that you have to have two important values, which value which you need to understand the words first, then make sense after. If you're that good, you can make sense while you're hearing it, then you're freaking good already. So use it. Don't 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 fight it. Don't go against it. You're not gonna make sense. You're not gonna understand. You're not gonna make something good out of this. So this here is very important for you to become this version where this helps you not to go to the deep place, because if you don't understand somebody, there's going to be a lot of this misunderstanding there. There's going to be a lot of disagreements. This could spiral down to the rabbit hole of darkness, and you're gonna start blaming your mom and dad and brother, the cousins, and no one's helping me. Oh my god, it's not like that. It's you have to understand, maybe they're going through their own situations where you are not really understanding these words that coming to you, not making sense to you. You're not using your emotion, you're using your anger. So you gotta wake up to this and then start using your emotion. Understand that um, this person is suffering or something, and you need to know this, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to interpret this whole situation, and you cannot know where to go to get some more knowledge about this if you don't know what this is. And so this could end up really good if you use your emotions, or if you forget about your emotions, you start only hearing the words and fight, put a fight, it could end up completely differently. So you have to understand that this is what we do as a human, and this is what you need to really like start using it, not forget about this one. This is I think such a great um, rule of our how it works, and become aware of it and use it. And leave comments down below if you guys liking this, or you have a story for us that you went through. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, so listening with emotions. Yeah, I mean, when you listen to someone, obviously, you want to obviously understand that person, uh, and that obviously requires for you to, to some extent, open your heart and be willing to listen to that person all the way through. And it's not something that's very easy for most people, and that's because a lot of people want to interject their own opinion, or they want to immediately judge, or they want to immediately say something about whatever that other person is saying. And I personally dislike that, and I make sure I don't do that those type of things when I'm listening to someone. I make sure that they finish their full thought, their full story, even if that means me not talking for like 15-20 minutes. I really don't care, because this is all about that other individual speaking and really sharing the full story. It's not about me going in there and trying to change this person or judge them for what they're doing, or trying to assume the rest of the story and cut them off when they're just starting off. And so
Yeah.
definitely I think this is something that it requires obviously emotion, but not, I wouldn't say completely fully emotion, because uh, the you staying there and holding, maybe you already, maybe this person already started talking, there's certain things that they're telling you, and you're already starting to feel emotional about it, and you want to say something. So I think that requires a little bit of a logic, and you understanding how this dynamic has to play out, and knowing that you have to hold your emotions back and cool them down and really keep them in check while that other individual is talking, because who knows, maybe they're talking about a topic that you're very sensitive about, and that you have a very completely different opinion about. And so you're tempted to just cut the person off and interject your own opinion about it, especially if you feel like you're very knowledgeable in that area. That's something that's very common, and so this is all about, when you listen, it's all about letting the other person express their full story. Not only that, but also providing the safety that they can express themselves fully without needing to fear that you're going to act in a certain way that is gonna that's gonna make them uncomfortable or just unsafe about revealing certain details. And so yeah, definitely, I think it's something that could definitely help somebody who perhaps isn't listened to very often, and having good listeners is not very common. Um, I myself have yet to come across like excellent good listeners. It's not something that's that's easy to come across because it does take a lot of it takes intention, it takes practice. It's something that's just not easy because you really have to, you know, put yourself put yourself out of it, and you have to really allow the other person and not having to need to talk. And so really letting the other person express themselves and not having to like immediately having to lecture that other person, tell them exactly what they have to do. It's more about just understanding, not judging the other person. That too, that's extremely important. You don't want to judge the other person, even if they're doing a mistake, or you feel like they're doing a mistake. Never judge the other person. Always accept whatever it is that they're doing. Uh, Tell them that you understand the position they're coming from, and then from there, put a suggestion out there. Like, okay, like you're coming from this place. Why don't you try this instead? As you can see, that didn't exactly work. Why don't you try this other thing? If that's what they want, obviously, you know, people don't always want a solution. They just want to be heard sometimes, and so that's perfectly okay as well. And yeah,
Very interesting, right? Um, I guess it all depends on where you coming from, because um, depending on if you had a good support, like parents teaching you and making you understand that this is stuff that you need to know, and some parents are MIA, and especially divorced parents. Um, with that kid's story, the parents was divorced and mom was not around. So a lot of this has it's a building blocks of you know you being when you're young. Um, if you didn't have that, it's it's definitely you gotta it's a little struggle. You gotta go through a lot of pain to accept, to agree, and to understand that you need to learn this. And um,
of course, and that's why I said back there that this is
yeah,
this is this is a fight you're putting out here. This is the fight for your life.
for
There's
sure,
going to be a lot of pain, and you have
not
to
a,
be willing to keep fighting and keep fighting every single day, man. It's a
that's it.
battle. Yeah,
Yeah, there's no age. Like a lot of times you meet the older people. They're like, oh, you can't teach the old person the new tricks. That's bullshit. You can learn anything you want. Your brain is plastic. You can shape it, bend it over, and then throw away your thousand habits and create new ones. You can do that, and it's a proven thing. So let's go to the next one, which is perception. I put a few things here for perception. Maybe I can take it somewhere else, or you can take it somewhere else. Perception is very wide thing that we all live through, because it's an eye of a holder, right? So who knows what you're going through, what is important to you, what is not. But we all have perception about life, about stuff, about things. I just put a few things here, so it helps me to help us to talk about how do you look at things. Perception. How do you look at things? It's very important. Uh, Things change. Obviously, life is ongoing. It's changing, and then law of rhythm. There are laws. One is law of rhythm, and the other one is I put here. There's a ton of them, but I just put two here. Law of cause and effect. So we're going to talk about a few of these things, which is how you look, how you look at things. How you look at things is your perception, your understanding. What do you understand? How do you understand things? Somebody looks at freaking car, they say this is made out of metal. The other person looks at it and says, "Oh wow, this made out of eight-cylinder engine." And everybody sees it differently. Somebody else sees it that, oh, this car is a sports car. Everybody sees it differently. Your perception is, you gotta understand how do you see things, and then how do you perceive things, how do you interpret things. Obviously there are certain things that we cannot um, change because that's the way it is. It's a law. Um, uh, that's why I put here law of rhythm, because I wanted to talk about that. It's everything is vibrating. It's a vibration. Everything is in a rhythm. They all have vibration. This table is vibrating in a certain speed. The metals are vibrating. Everything. This glass is vibrating. Everything is vibrating. So you have to understand that there's nothing solid in this world. Everything is vibrating. Everything has a time when it's vibrating and it falls apart. So nothing stays forever. It depends how you see it. You can look at this table and say this is solid. It's your perception, but in reality, it's vibrating. So you have to understand how you interpreting things, and how do you see things, and then is that going to help you to 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 be better, to become better, to understand it better, to explain it better, what's going on. So be careful with your perception of things. Always question everything. So and then the law. Let's. So I talked about the rhythm. Let's talk about the cause and effect. So everything you think because you believe, because of your perception of how you see this, that's the cause, and then that has an effect to it. So the effect could be positive or negative for you, and you have to interpret what your belief system is. Like earlier you were saying, certain things that you saw, you change, and so you change your perception about those things, right? So you the here here the most important word is perception, and understand that there are a bunch of laws. What is your perception when you jump out from the window? I mean, there's only one way you're going to go. You're going to go down because that's the law. Gravity is going to pull you down. It's not going to pull you sides to side or up. It's going to pull you down. But if you if you build a little wing or something, you might fly. And now now the law is changed because you have wings, and then that's different perception of things. So you gotta, if you don't have that, you have to understand the law works this way, and then you have to have, you have to understand how this works. So um, I just, we're coming down the line, and then I just wanted to put this here to just talk about it a little bit. That perception is very real. Perception is, sometimes they say perception is reality. So like you see someone, and then he doesn't look good, he doesn't talk good, he doesn't smell good. You have certain perception about this person. Somebody else comes and say this guy is such a nice guy, he's amazing, he did. But you're having hard time understanding, believing, because all your first perception about this person. So that's, this is how it works. And you just have to understand it so you can find the meaning of it. How are you gonna maybe later on you change your perception about that person, but so then again, you got to understand that this is where this resides, and then this is how it's working.
Yeah. So when it comes to perception, I like to see perception more as a byproduct of an experience rather than something that you prioritize beforehand. Just because I feel like when you prioritize it beforehand, it almost becomes it comes from a place of you just judging the person or the thing, and before you even experience the person or the thing. And so um, personally, I feel like you should have a purpose as far as like I said, always live life with intention. Every action you take should have an intention throughout your day, and so whatever your intention is, and your overall purpose should align with that intention. So who knows? We can do maybe an example of maybe there's a phone, right? And the perception of the phone isn't that great, right? Like it's not a very good performing phone. The reviews are just they're just not good. The design of the phone just doesn't look very appealing. But Let's just say maybe you're a tech enthusiast and you love tech, and maybe you have a YouTube channel, right, where you review stuff like that, and so you know that you the perception of it is bad, but at the same time, you would like to have your own experience of it because that's just genuinely who you are as a person. You love that stuff, and so you can experience that for yourself. Go and actually buy the phone, hold it in your hands, experience it, turn it on, use it for a couple days, and so I think with that experience, you'll have a new perception of that specific thing, and that will be your own perception of it. That won't be like a borrowed perception of other individuals. It won't be something that like that came from somebody else. You're drawing that perception based on your own experience, and so I personally suggest that you always prioritize the experience over the perception. Let the perception come after you have the first hand experience, whether it's the person, maybe you meet the person, maybe the person isn't necessarily well dressed or something like that, but you experience this person and you find out this person's, you connect with this person at a lot of levels. But perhaps, who knows, maybe they themselves are not necessarily very much into fashion. They don't really think it's something that's important to them, and so because of that, they don't put too much effort and interest into it. But that doesn't mean that they're not a good person to be around with, and that's based on your own experience that you went and you didn't judge this person based on how they looked, and you went, you experienced them, you spoke to them, and you figured out that this is a great person. They just don't have any interest in fashion for who knows what reason, and so they have to develop their own reason if they want to change that for themselves. But if they don't care, they don't care. They're not gonna change, no matter how much advice, how much you tell them that it's a better idea for them to dress better. If they're just not interested in it, they're just not going to be interested in it. You can see examples of many wealthy people who just don't particularly dress that well, but it's not like they really care. I mean, it's just that they just don't find that very appealing anymore. They just want to slap something on and go on their way. They value other things besides looking good, trying to appeal to other people. Maybe they just don't care about that anymore. That's not their thing anymore. They're not trying to impress other people. They're not trying to say that, oh, I'm very knowledgeable in this area. Look at me. Um, they just don't care about that. They just care about being happy, living their life, living out their purpose, living out their values, and that's really what should matter to you at the end of the day. So yeah.
You just reminded me of something that happened yesterday evening. Perception. I'm gonna tell you guys this little story happened to me yesterday evening. So we took a break. We went downstairs. We were drinking coffee, and our friend had a friend with him that, in my mind, I've never seen this guy. But after we had a little bit of a conversation, he remembered me. He's like, "Oh, you had a retail store, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." I still, it's not coming to me. He's like, "You've been to this multi-level marketing. This is 2008, 2007." I'm like, "Yeah." And then, "Yeah, I remember you, your cousin, your brother." I'm like, "Oh, fuck, shit. This guy knows everything." And then slowly it started coming to me. And then, see, like, and then he turned around. He was telling Rita and Anar, like, this guy is like this, is good, this and that. So exactly that's what you were explaining. That's why I remember this story, just to say, tell a story over everything, which is perception. This guy had a perception of me back in 2007, and his perception had never changed. When he saw me, he remembered me, like who I am, what I did, what I, how he remembered me, basically. So perception is like that. You develop perception about something, and then you form an opinion about it, and then you hold it in your mind, and it's going to stay like that. So that's why it's very important. How do you talk, how do you smile, how do you dress, is your shoes clean, is, whatever you do, whatever you are, how you hold yourself is very important. You're leaving When you leave that place, you're leaving a perception behind, and that's how you're gonna get judged. So even 15 years later, they see you. You know, so that's pretty much. I remember everything you're saying.
Yeah.
I remember all this how it happened yesterday evening. So with that, let's go. I think this is part of the top or whatever. I don't know why I have it here. Let's just talk about it for a second. Then I'm gonna jump to the last question. Um, Develop your mindset podcast. We're gonna finish with your develop mindset. But before that, the law is not man-made. You are not going to be able to change it. Obviously, with the law of universe, the law of Akashic records, the law of the Mother Earth, and the law of our cosmos. We didn't build it. It was here. We had to learn. And if you pay attention, you're gonna learn. If you don't pay attention, you're gonna be 80 years old and die. You're not gonna know about this. But moral of the story is we didn't build it. It was here. We just became to this realm as a human being, eyes, ears, and mouth, and we use our senses, and we use our intellectual mind, and we learn about these things, and then we can, because we are part of the cosmos, we are very connected to the source, and everything happens there. Happens, we feel it. It happens to us. It happens internally. So pay attention to the laws, and just once you understand it, it's going to be much easier, much faster. The last question is develop your mindset on changing you. Remember, you got to change you. You got to become the better version of you all the time. Don't worry about going through breakdowns. Use your breakdowns as in catalyst to have breakthrough. You have to have breakthroughs to become that other better person. Hopefully, you know, don't come the worst. I've seen that too. Um, they those guys that they went through that, they lost 15 years of their life until they figured it out that that's not going to work for them. You got to become the better version of you. If you are a jeweler, you got to have to become better jeweler. You're a technician, or you're a computer guy. You got to become the better technician. The better means you're gonna have better value, and then don't forget to change to better, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So the law, it's not man-made. All the laws of like the world and everything. I think they're a good example and something that you should look up to for like reality. Because those laws are those are reality. Those are the truth. Those are constant things that are always there. Those are always real, and I think that's a good example of that you should adopt.
Of course.
And everything that you do in life. Always try to get to the truth and the reality of things. Whether that's whatever you're doing, is it making you happy or not. Uh, Facts and things that people are telling you, are they actually true or not? And so I think that's great for that. And develop your mindset on changing you, of course. But I think before you even decide to change you, there's a very important aspect that I guess not it's not really talked about, because especially in like self development, because self development and like growth, it's all about growth. It's all about becoming better. It's all about improving. It's all about becoming better at this, better at that, growing and like progressing and strategy and all these things, right? But like the first step is really to accept yourself, accept whatever stage you're in right now. If don't judge yourself. Like if you're not exactly performing right now, you're going, you're just not at the level that other people are. There's don't don't judge yourself that way. Don't compare yourself to other people, uh, and just don't judge yourself altogether. Because at the end of the day, all these things, self improvement, all this stuff, these aren't necessarily things that are for everybody. It's not like something that you have to do, and I don't think you should ever approach life in that manner, because I think this is where a lot of the just negativity starts to build up, because like you feel like you have to, like you should do certain things, and that you must live up to your potential and all these things. Like uh, if you have a good reason for it, then you should definitely. But if you don't at this point, if you just don't have any sort of incentive, you don't have any motivation to do it, you have no purpose, nothing, focus on developing those first, before you focus on becoming better at this and hustling and all this stuff, like that'll come later, and let it all come, very natural to you. And then that's how, good, positive change really comes. It's not forced change. It's not change that you do because the people around you tell you that you must change, you must become better, you must become successful, and all these things. Like you never want to do it from that place, because that will just lead to you becoming successful, but deep down you're going to be unhappy, and you're just going to be like your life is just not going to feel like it has any meaning, any sense, and that's just not how you want to feel. So you always want your life to have meaning, and then obviously do the steps that you need to take to make yourself uh, give yourself the life that ultimately that you want. Not that everybody else is telling you to have the life that you want to have, whatever meaning of life that you want to give yourself. That's it.
Okay, so with that, I'm glad you guys, whoever stayed all the way in the end, listen. Thank you. Today was. I knew that I was gonna go, but I did go definitely all the way down to the black and try to explain. I just wanted to say, you guys, I'm gonna talk to the camera, and I know there is a person behind that camera, maybe listening. Maybe you're struggling. Maybe you have certain things that not working in your life, or something is going very wrong with you. If that's the case, please, you can contact us. Um, we are we do this because we love doing this, and then we are here if you are having any issues, that kind of issues. You can contact us, and we will definitely um, be there and listen the story. um, so with that, I just wanted to say appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, and um, be good and be well, and I love you.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I hope you guys all took a lot of value from this one. And yeah, it was pretty deep. And yeah, like I said, I mean, take that with you. I mean, you do have to be strong and just be a fighter and stand up for whatever it is that you believe in. Stand up for yourself. Your life has meaning, even if you can't see it right now. But your life has meaning, and it can really impact a lot of people. But you gotta take action, and so that's really the way you gotta do it, and you gotta do it from a place of you're a fighter, man. You're out there to conquer the world, man. It's a battle here, and so yeah, I mean that's from my perspective. I always see it that way, uh, which is why I can very intense, very like I want to go and do something,
Mhm.
because that's just the fighter mentality I have, and so yeah, if you want your life, you want to keep your life, you got to fight for it, and so do that. And yeah, other than that, thank you very much. Subscribe. There'll be links down below, social medias, and of course, link to our book, 10 Stages to Skill Mastery, if you want to become a master. There's a link down below so you can download it, and there's also a link down below so you guys can listen to the audiobook version on YouTube. completely for free, both of them. And so, yeah, other than that, thank you very much for watching.
Thank you. Stay fighter.
All right.